All right, I think we're live. Just took me a few minutes to, sorry, I'm just trying to get my camera to, hello, hi, camera to stay still here. Hopefully some people can jump on in, and let's put some extra lights on here as well. This is actually it's my second live of my life. It's my first violin live. So, there's nobody in here at the moment, but, oh, does that mean there's one person watching? Yay. Who is it? Make sure you say hello once you've jumped in, because I can't see you guys at all. Sorry, I'm fiddling with this, but let's just get this a little bit tighter. And make sure you say hello. Tell me who you are, because I can't actually see your name. I don't know if I can see that unless you comment. So, oh, 2 people. Awesome. Yay. Make sure you say hello, because I can't see you guys at all. So I would really love to know who's in here with me today. And you got to let me know what you want to work on. So I printed up a list of things that some people sent me in email or in some of the Facebook groups. This one, another one. Just checking, no, there's no more emails come in. So I think we've got a couple of people in here. Can you guys, oh, it doesn't tell me who they are. If you guys can say hello in the chat, so just type a message and say hi and let me know what you want to work on today. I think we will start with vibrato, because it's on my list a couple of times. Are you guys working on vibrato? Haven't had any comments come in yet, so if you can let me know, that'd be great. All right, so and if you want to work on vibrato as well, or anything that we're working on, it's great if you've got your violin. So I hope you've got your violin handy. So I did do a video not long ago on my YouTube channel for vibrato, and I always feel like I need to put a little disclaimer with vibrato, because everybody wants to learn vibrato. It's a really common thing that learners, like adult learners, want to learn. By the way, can you guys hear me okay? That's another thing. If you can let me know if you can hear me okay, that would be great. Yeah, so vibrato, it's not the first thing that we learn, although there are different methodologies, and I know in some methods, I can't think of the method's name right now, but there's a woman who I've learnt from, and she actually sort of gets her kids to do it quite early on, just to get this little bit of a movement here. But in terms of adult learners, generally, I mean, it's not a bad thing to kind of free up their hand a little bit, but you want to be able to play in tune before you can do vibrato on top of that, because it's more important to play in tune. And even one of my young students, who, when he came to me, he was already doing a vibrato, even though there were lots of other things we needed to fix in his work on in his playing. And I'm very honest to him. He's been with me for a while, and we can joke around and, be pretty comfortable, but it's it's just too wobbly. Like, he actually sounds really like it's a bit too big. And that sound that I just made there, we're going to have that when we're learning vibrato. So I'm going to go through my process of vibrato. And another little, I have a process that I teach to students who are just starting out. But I do also get them to just show me, sometimes, not a lot of them, but some of them have already had a go trying to do vibrato at home. And I always tell them, just, okay, show me what you've got, because sometimes it's right. Sometimes it's fine and it's great. And other times it's really not, and it really needs to be worked on in a process. So the end result, in my thinking, other people will describe it in their own ways, and vibrato was actually kind of a scary thing for me to teach at first, because I'm like, how do I teach this? It's kind of weird. So how I describe it, it's just my way of thinking of it. Everyone will have their own ways. So I feel like we need to have the finger sort of isolated from the rest of the hand. So there will be different ways of thinking about it, but basically we want it to be relaxed from the rest of the hand, I guess is what I say. So the hand's going to have some movement, but I guess I do more of a finger vibrato. So the energy is kind of coming through to the tip of the finger, and that's where we want the vibration to actually happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with little circles. So you've got your thumb, and I'm doing the left hand because it's vibrato, but you can actually do both fingers. It doesn't hurt to actually just do both hands at the same time so that you can actually, because we need this. We also need this rounded shape, this bent thumb for the bow, and this curled pinky. So it doesn't hurt to actually just do it simultaneously with the two hands. So when we do this, we want to make a gentle circle. We don't want to squeeze it, and ideally, we don't want to flatten out the fingertips. Yeah. So it's just a gentle little crocodile snap or something there. Not a big one. Actually, yeah, that's a crocodile snap. Don't call it a crocodile snap. A little, I don't know what to call it. It doesn't matter. Little circles and little eyeglasses as well. So just do that gently with each finger, and that's just to get this nice rounded shape with the finger and the thumb, like this. So that can be actually quite tricky for some people at the start. So that might just be your homework for a whole week or more. So the next step from there is sort of adding that to the violin. So the thumb is going to sit where it always sits, on the neck here, just gently, not up too high. The thumb's the bus driver, right? We don't want the bus driver looking at the passengers going, "Hey, you guys, what are you doing in the back of the bus?" So we want the bus driver to sit in the bus driver's seat, just here. We don't want it to be hunched over at the wheel. Be a bit worried. We don't want it sleeping down here. Sorry, I'm getting off track. This is not vibrato, but this is just basic left-hand technique that we want. So we're just going to gently have our thumb here, and it's, make sure it's not squeezing on. When you start doing this, the thumb might move around a bit, and it's kind of okay. It's just going to be very varied for each person who's learning it. So from there, we're going to sort of do that circle that we were doing. So essentially what we want to do is lengthen the finger. Oh, I didn't do that. I was doing it like this. I'm sorry. So we want to do this. So lengthen and pull back. I'm sorry. I kind of did it. I forgot a step, didn't I? So we want to lengthen the finger and bring it back up. Lengthen and bring it back up. Second finger is the longest finger. Thumb doesn't count, right? So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So second finger is long and it's thick. It's a big finger as well. So it's actually the easiest one in those regards to start this. It also doesn't matter where you sit on here. So because we're not doing the bow when we start vibrato, we're just getting the movement in the left hand. So I'm lengthening and coming back. So we want to make sure, because this is very common, that students will end up doing this captain hook hand in order to get this. So this is going to move because it's connected, but we don't want the wrist going out like this. This is going to stay basically flat. See how it's coming flat like this, yeah? So another little tip with this is that we don't want the fingers kind of hanging down too low. We want to have the fingers raised over the fingerboard. So this line here where your fingers connect to your hand, to your palm. We want that not hanging below the line of the fingerboard, but rather a little bit raised up, because that gives us a whole lot of space in here to actually get this movement, yeah? So you would just go through each finger one at a time. So first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger. But you can go, well, you can start with two, like I said, go through each one. And the key is to try and get a consistent movement. So once you start to get the actual movement, we just want it to be consistent. So we don't want it to be sort of disjointed. So to stop, start. 1, 2, 3, 4. Third finger. Nice and consistent. When we get to fourth finger, I always give students two options, because I observed that in my playing, I actually put my third finger with my fourth finger. If I take it away, I can still do that, but I think it's just out of a habit that I actually do my 3 with my 4. So it gives it a lot more stability. So I personally like that. I don't know what everybody else in the world does, but I just give students the option. And a lot of students actually choose to just do the 4 by itself, and some of them do choose to put the 3 with it. So I would just play around with that, just because the fourth finger is so little and it's a little bit weaker to stabilize, but it's not impossible. So it's up to you. So the next step from there, so it looks like we've still got a couple of people in here, but you guys haven't said anything, and I'd really, really love if you could just type a message and say if this is what you want to learn about. That'd be awesome. I don't know if it's just not coming up on my iPad or something, but it doesn't look like anyone said anything. That's okay. You don't have to. So, oops, my shoulder just came off. So the next step, we'll keep on with the vibrato. The next step then is to add the bow. So, I mean, I'd try and get that a little bit faster. Start really slow and then get it a little bit faster. And this will take weeks, probably, for most students, yeah? Do one thing each week, and just do a little bit often. So you can just build up the feeling in the muscles. When we add the bow, it's nothing to do with the sound, it's all to do with coordination. So sometimes when students put the bow, it gets all confused and we have this stop-start between the finger and the bow. So we just want to be able to draw the bow across the string while the finger is doing this. And we're going slow, and it's going to sound wobbly, it's going to sound funny, and that's right, okay? So that would be another week, and start again. You can always, well, you choose whichever finger feels best for you to start with, but then go through each finger. So I think it's good to start with the one that's easier, because it's easier to build up the correct feeling and the correct movement and motion, and then it's simpler for the body to then translate that to the other fingers. Once you do get, after like a few weeks like that, we really want to just start to get the finger movement a little bit faster. So we're not going to go straight from slow to like that. It's just not going to happen, okay? It'll end up being like tense and inconsistent. So we just slowly. I mean, think of like if you're learning to get faster at running, you're going to just gradually be able to hold a a higher pace in your running. So it's basically like that. And you'll notice I'm also on my A string, so I think A string is a really nice, I think it's the best one to start with, second finger on the A string, because, you know, E string, you kind of feel like you're going to fall off the cliff. Even by D string, you're having to come over a little bit more. So again, like I mentioned just before, getting the right, you know, in some things, sometimes when I'm teaching a piece, I won't start with the easiest part. I'll actually start with the hardest part, because if a student learns the hardest part first, then it's like by the time we get to the other part that's easier, it's like, oh, piece of cake, breeze. You know, we haven't like learned this like easy stuff and then like, oh my gosh, I have to learn this really hard part. So we do it the other way around. But with this, it's because it's just a physical, like playing violin is a sport, right? You realize that, right? It took me a long time till I learned that. But it's very much a physical thing. So we need to start with what we're capable of. When you're a baby, you can't walk, you crawl before you walk most of the time. I think there probably are some kids who just get up and walk, I don't know. And then you walk before you run, right? So I think, unless kids are like inconsistent, they're probably a little bit inconsistent actually, aren't they? But anyway, so we want to go slowly, start with the easiest place, the easiest finger, but don't just do the second finger. I know I'm demonstrating with my second finger. Each step of the process, do every finger so that they are all getting, like, start with the easy one, but then do all the other ones at that level so that they keep up, and then go to the next level, right? So let's choose a different finger. We'll do first finger, and we're just getting a bit faster. So probably this speed, right? And by the time you are at this level, then I would start playing around with other strings as well, and you can play around with positions. It doesn't matter what note you're on. You can just, it doesn't matter, like, even if you haven't learnt positions, just move somewhere and just put your finger, it doesn't matter, right? Again, it's just about the physical movement that we're learning. And then when we get fast, you know, a proper full vibrato will be like this. So we're going slow, sorry, and then getting faster, and then this is our full vibrato. So I'll just go through each finger. Vibrato. I think that's good for the vibrato. I'm going to have a look on here. Please let me know what else, if you guys are still watching, if there's anything else that you would like me to cover. Otherwise, I'm going to pick from my list here, which I printed up just to make sure things are a little bit easier. Vibrato, dynamics, harmonics. Okay, maybe we should do some harmonics. Spiccato. Bow motion from the wrist, intonation, left hand pinky instead of the open string, and as always playing in tune. Okay, moving left hand quickly, bow techniques, vibrato. All right, so actually let's talk about the fourth finger. I'll just have a quick drink of water. So fourth finger, I love having brand new students who have never learnt, because I always make them use fourth finger quite early on. And you know, a lot of students learn at school, which is great. I think the school programs are great. My daughter's does cello in the school program, and but they do often use, you know, if they're playing a D major scale, they'll always use the open string, and it makes sense because you just go 0 1 2 3, 0 1 2 3, and you know that's easy to remember. and it's easier to play in tune. So when string orchestra teachers are teaching, you know, they at least want their students to be able to get their open strings in tune, right? But when I teach, I always make students start using that fourth finger fairly early on, because it's the weakest, and if we don't use it, it's not going to get stronger. So just like I was saying with the vibrato, like we want to keep the fingers, you know, there's always going to be some stronger ones, but we want to keep the other ones up with it, not let them get left behind. So to work on your fourth finger pinky, I would just, and intonation, I mean, I just love, is that actually from a Schradig. This is the first page of Schradig, and it's just a whole page of the A string first position notes with the M shape. If you are familiar with my other videos, I talk about these hand patterns. So on the A string, we're playing open A, first finger's on B, second finger's on C sharp, third finger's on D, fourth finger's on E, which is of course the same as our open E string E, right? So with the Schradig, the first page, it just goes through different patterns with these notes, all on the A string, all in one position. So even just the first one of that, where we climb up, we go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just climbing up and down, but you do that much more slowly if you're, you know, needing to, if you're a beginner and you're working on your pitch and stuff. But yeah, just, it gives you the opportunity to just get really familiar with those what is it? It's not a tone to start with, it's just an A, then a tone, then a tone, then a semitone, and a tone. And you can check your fourth finger with the open E string. So I think this is a good way to actually just get used to using the 4, because by the time you've climbed up there, you've got the support of the other fingers to help guide where it's going to go. It's got to stretch a little bit, so, you know, different students all have very different hands and very different experiences with using their fourth finger and all their other fingers. Some people have quite short fingers and it can be quite hard, especially over on the G string, right? And then there's just the physical stretching and strengthening that needs to come along with all of that. So if you're having trouble with your fourth finger because it's, well, it could be because it's small, but it also just could be a flexibility and a strength thing. And you might even just do this without the bow if you just want to work on strengthening. So you can work on your G string just to help really stretch it out. So you want to really bring the elbow really under the violin. So you're going across from the left to the right of your body, pulling your violin left arm this way, right? And that curls the fingers over. If I do it this way, you can see, change positions a little bit. So if I'm just sort of sitting here and if I bring that elbow, just like I just did, I just pulled the sleeve of my arm, right, of my shirt, right? So it just brings the fingers over. See, you can see them just come over. I'm not actually doing anything here, I'm only moving my elbow. So that's a really key thing to help if you're having trouble reaching the fourth finger. Big stretch. Another little thing I'll note, and this is not just the fourth finger, but some students' fingers have this tendency. We always want the fingers looking a little bit towards your face. Sometimes students' fingers will try and curl in the other way. So if you're having trouble with the fourth finger and then have a look at it, it's curling in that way, what you want to do, And this goes a lot for the other fingers too, the second and the third, okay? Here we are here. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Michelle. I just saw, wonderful. Yeah, maybe because it's on my iPad, I'm not seeing any messages. Oh, wow. Okay. Maybe I've got my phone here. So I just had a message on Messenger from Michelle. Thank you for popping in. You'll probably see the message after that, but you don't seem to see the message in there, but we are here. So that's really good to know. So if you guys want to message me on Messenger, just my Catherine Upton Messenger, please do, because I can see that it's popping up, but I don't know, maybe it is because I'm on my iPad, I'm not seeing anything. So there's probably a whole heap of questions you've been asking me I've been apparently ignoring, but I just can't see them. So is this what you want me to talk about, Michelle? So yeah, we'll just go for a little bit longer, hey? When did you hop in, Michelle? Were you here from the beginning? Because I've just got two people. It looks like there are two people in here, and you said you couldn't come in till halfway through, but maybe you got some time off early, I don't know. Okay, so we're talking about those fingers. So another way we're going to think about this is, how can I show this? The back corner of the finger is where we want to sort of place. It's not always like exactly there. Sometimes we're going to be a little bit more pinpointed, but we don't want that front corner of the finger. So if the fingers are curling inwards like that, like kind of going that way, it's probably like that part rather than that part of the finger placing down. So if we need to stretch further, I like to think of the tip of the finger stretching. Let's use like a third finger that needs to stretch. We want to stretch, put a little face on there. It's going to stretch towards you. Enjoying from the start. Oh, good. Okay, thanks, Michelle. Think if there's a little face on there, it's going to look at you, go hello, and then it's going to face plant down. So that way it doesn't just curl down. So that's a good way to get it to stretch further. So if you have trouble with the 4, you can do the same thing. So if we've got that shape, and then we're going to put our little face here and stretch it forwards and then onto there. And then it is about strengthening this whole line down through here as well. So I think even just sitting in this sort of position and stretching it out and coming like this is going to help to actually physically strengthen that 4th finger. We want it curled as well. I used to play with a flat finger like that. It would lock. I didn't know about it for many, many years. I had something else I was going to add about that. What was it? Oh, yes. If you also just need to really strengthen your 4th finger, do pizzicato with your 4th finger, left-hand pizzicato. So that's great. I get all my little complete beginners to do this because 2 things. 1, it strengthens the pinky. 2, when we use, I have a student who's been with me for a few years. She's a teenager and she still does this. I've told her like 100 times. I mean, more than 100 times, like literally, like every lesson, I'm like, open your hand, open your hand. When she plays her 4th finger, she'll go like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it just goes into position. So using the 4th finger is actually really good. You have to put this position. It's just like really hard like this. So even students with bad habits actually get their 4th finger into position like this. So strengthening the 4, plucking each string, and when you do this, we don't want the 2 strings, I mean, unless you do want the 2 strings, but if we want to pluck each string individually, we're going to think of really getting that, even though it's a pinky, it's still got a squidgy bit on the end, right? So get it under the string and pluck up to the sky, rather than pulling it across this way. I also do monkey swings, which are also great, same concept. I see broken wrist in folk music. What do you mean by broken wrist? Broken wrist. Have you got a broken, did you get a broken wrist from playing folk music? I'm just kidding. So this is also great. I call this monkey swings, right? Where we're actually swinging this, and this is good for that freedom of that elbow as well. But if you just want to pluck what your this thing, right? So Michelle was telling broken wrist. I got this from someone when I was doing my pedagogy. They call it pancakes. So pancakes are great on your breakfast plate, but not on your violin, right? So, so I talk about keeping it open. I also talk about putting a little animal in there and opening the letterbox here. Yeah, keeping the window open here. All these sorts of things. So you get that from when you're playing folk? Oh, you see it in folk music? Is that what you mean, Michelle? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I guess people do get away with playing different techniques and what would be considered bad technique in from a classical perspective. So, I'm I'll teach my way because like this is how I learned, right? But I'm not like some people are hardcore classical. You got to do things this one way. I'm a bit more of an open-minded person. And I live in the 2024s. So I'm like, whatever, I've seen someone playing, actually, I don't know if it was violin or guitar, but I've seen some people playing in the most wacky ways and they're incredible, right? Like violin and all sorts of instruments. But so we have these techniques and we have these reasons why, but then people just go and do it their own way and they master it their own way and it's fine. So I think this gets in the way when we want to shift. So probably in a lot of that folk music, people probably stay in one position a lot so they can kind of do that, right? I don't know what they're doing, right? But if we want to shift, we're kind of stuck, and my thumb got stuck because like it's kind of stuck there. So this has a lot more freedom to move around. So depending on your goals and your purpose. So I was actually going to keep this not too long today. So we've gone about 35 minutes, I think. So I don't know who the other person is. If you have me on Messenger, you can send me a message as well. And I'm sorry if you've sent me messages that I've missed. Actually, maybe I can look in here. I wonder if they'll show up on my phone. If I see, I don't know if this will work. But, oh yeah, look, I can see myself live. That's so funny, isn't it? Oh, there are 9 comments here. Okay, cool. But I better turn that volume down. Right, okay. Right, here we go. I can see your comments. So Judy, hi Judy. From North Canada as well. I think you're both in Canada then. Lovely. Okay, thank you for joining me. Yes. Vibrato, yeah, good. You wanted to do that. Michelle, not yet. Okay. Okay. Good. I watched the YouTube. It's good. I'm struggling getting the movement in the fingers. This helps. Whoa, I could be so annoying and sound like a mosquito. Yeah, Michelle, everyone sounds like a mosquito when they start practicing vibrato. So just do it. Don't worry about it. I mean, if it really bothers you, you can put a mute on. Do you guys know what? I can see your answers now if I open it up on my phone. So if I ask a question and you answer in here, I can see it. So do you guys know what? It's like a little bit behind. That's so funny. It's like lagging on my phone. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, do you guys have mutes? Practice mutes? Let's see. I've got a couple here. This is like a gentle one. And these ones were kind of cheap ones that I bought, by the way. So this is just a rubber thing. And it goes over the bridge like that. And it just makes it a lot more quiet, which is quite handy. I actually use this sometimes when I'm teaching students and we all use accompaniments, recorded accompaniments, and I'll play with them because it really helps them to get the music in time with the piano, but it's just too noisy if I'm playing and they're playing and we're listening to a recording. So I'll actually put that on quite a lot. just makes it a bit softer. You can hear the difference. And I've also got this one. This was actually a cheap one as well, but you can get nicer ones that are kind of like this, but they're covered with like a rubber something. So they're probably a little bit nicer for your bridge, but I actually never damaged my bridge, so I'm not worried about it. And it's a lot quieter. So if you're practicing your vibrato and you're worried about the sound, you can go and get a hardcore mute like this, a practice mute. And now it really sounds like a mosquito, Michelle. Doesn't it? Awesome. All right. Looks like we've had somebody. Oh, suddenly the message popped up. And Kathy's just joined us. Hi, Kathy. So you do have a practice mute. I forgot to take it off at some point, and my teacher didn't look like she was very fond of it. Yeah. Yeah, it's not good to leave it on in your case either, because it's a bit high, so you don't want to press the case to press down on the bridge. So make sure you take it off when you finish. All right, Kathy, you've joined us kind of right like near the end. I'll probably just go for like another 5 minutes, which is a bit longer than I was going to go for. Hi, Kathy, and I only just was able to suddenly see our comments like a few minutes ago. Now I can see everyone's. A slow jam. What's a slow jam, Judy? Is that like when you're just like improvising or something? A slow jam. Kathy, I think you might have said some of the things on here. I printed up a list of things that people said they wanted to work on. I think you answered, right? Was it you who said vibrato? Were you one of those, Kathy? Because I went through that at the beginning a lot. So I hope this is recorded and we can actually rewatch it, because I was actually going to put this up on my YouTube channel as well, so you can find it if some people don't come onto Facebook. So beginners group to learn. Yes, Kathy. So I did go through it. She fixed the problem by yes, that's right, Michelle. Michelle said we needed you fix, because I had a problem where I couldn't actually see your messages, and then I opened my phone and found that there were like a heap of messages, so then they suddenly appeared. Yeah, cool. All instruments to learn. All right, so I'm going to finish in a few minutes, but if you guys have anything else you want me to go through right now, just tell me right now and I'll go through it for you. I'll just wait a minute for you to write some answers. No comments? Anything else you want to go through? I mean, there are always things to go through, right? But I'll just choose something. Vibrato. We've talked about vibrato, the fourth finger, strengthening through the fourth finger. I'm just, now that I can see your comments, I'm just waiting. So let me know if there are any final things. This wasn't so weird actually, by the way, too, doing a live. Good for me for now. I want to try to sound like a mosquito. Have you started doing vibrato with your teacher, Michelle? The time wristles or the problem? Faster left hand. Okay, where are you, Kathy? Whereabouts are you located? I don't know if you told me or not. Great name, by the way. Faster left hand, do you mean like just actually moving around faster in this regards, Kathy? Like, or do you mean shifting? Or just the fingers moving faster? Los Angeles, nice. Yes, okay, so you mean moving around. So, I think I've got a video on my YouTube channel where I show one of my main exercises, and I try here and there, but I still haven't touched the vibrato yet. Fiddling. Yeah, fiddling. Okay. So, I mean, I'm not officially a fiddler, but yeah, I understand, like, you need to have fast finger movements. So I just love doing, like, my favorite warm-up exercise that I do most days, because it really just gets my fingers to wake up, and I go through all my different positions. So I just choose a string. I've made a video on this, and also I think this is what I go through. I did a February challenge. I'm not going to get a challenge done every month. I just don't have time. So I'm going to turn that February challenge into just a one-off challenge that people can just get at any time. So I actually go through this same exercise in that challenge where you get an email every day. So if you're familiar with my hand shapes, Kathy, so we've got the low, the middle, the high, and the open shapes. So we're going to go on, just choose any string, doesn't matter. So I'm just going to do D for now. So O, 1, low, 2, 3. You might do this much slower if you need to. We want them to be in tune as well. So that's no good because they're not in tune. So we want fast, but we want accurate. So go at a pace that you can to actually play the notes in tune. You might be slower than this. You're only up to one thing, just do one shape up and down lots and lots of times. The way I do it is I go low shape, then L, then high, then open, and then I reverse it, so I do the open, then the high, then the M, then the low. But you can make it way, way more simple than that. So you can just choose one shape and go up and down, up and down. And once you're going well with that, the best thing and the simplest thing to get faster with your fingers is to use dotted rhythms. So we want to go long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. And that can take a little bit, if you're not familiar with doing that, that can take a bit of getting used to. But it's good because you go fast on one finger and then you rest on the next finger. So you get a little time between. So we get some faster finger action happening with a little rest between. And when you're good at the long, short, you flip it around and you do short, long, short, long. Short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long. And I'm demonstrating once, but I would just go dun, da, dun, da, dun, da, dun, da, dun, da, dun, da, dun, and I would just do it over and over. Lots and lots of times. So you're working on your accuracy and the rhythm, getting that steady rhythm, and then you're flipping it around and you're doing the opposite fingers faster. So it's very much like doing, I don't know if anyone's like, what sports or things you guys have done, but if you're doing like sprinting or anything where you want to get faster with your legs, with your leg movement, and you do like little, like those little ladders that they have on the ground, and you do like little jumps over them. So it's very much like that. So you're actually just firing the muscles like quicker, 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 quicker. Yeah, so that's the best way to get faster with your fingers, I think. And anytime in any pieces where there's a whole bunch of semiquavers in a piece, for a student, let's see, what's a good one? Like especially when it's just like something like this, which is just lots and lots of semiquavers, and it's allegro, so it's fast and light, it's allegro. Then I always just say, just do your dotted rhythms, like both ways. So yeah, I think we are going to finish up there, and thank you for joining me. And I'm sorry I couldn't see your messages. I think maybe I even just had to touch the screen or something. I have no idea, but eventually it worked. So And I hope this recorded. I don't really understand how these live things worked. I was like literally YouTubing 5 minutes before I started. I had looked at it the other week, but I was like, how do I do a Facebook Live again? Just double check. So I hope it records so that we can all watch it again. So thank you, everybody. Have a great, you guys are probably nighttime on Wednesday. So enjoy your Wednesday evening and I'll catch you later. Bye.